We used to live way out in the country, flat land with barely any homes in sight. We were at least a couple of hours from the city, and the nearest police station was an hour away. We had our own crops, a farm, and livestock. Life was peaceful, isolated, and beautiful, far better than the crowded, trash-strewn chaos of the city. There was no charm in urban living. My father always warned me, don't stay out too late. There weren't many places nearby, but there was one bar. Every few months, me and a couple of buddies from closer to the city would meet up there. We drank, and when I say drank, I mean we drank a lot. There were no cabs, no Ubers, and we were heavily intoxicated. I told them they could crash at my place for the night, and despite our condition, we attempted to drive home. It was rough, but we were managing. Then it happened. A scream erupted from the cornfields to our left. It scared the hell out of me, but my buddies were passed out cold. I kept driving, trying to shake it off, until something blocked the road. A coyote. It looked deformed, like it was dying. I considered driving around it through the grass, but instead got out to move it. That's when everything changed. When I got back into the car, a human figure was staring through the windshield. The coyote was gone. In its place stood a woman in a white gown, her eyes locked onto mine. I slammed the car into reverse and sped off, waking my friends. They didn't believe me and went right back to sleep. We made it home by taking a different route. Later that night, after everyone had gone to bed, I went to lock the front door. That's when I heard breathing, followed by a sudden knock. I bolted upstairs and hid under the blankets, paralyzed with fear. The knocking didn't stop. Knock, knock, knock. Eventually, once it calmed down, I woke my buddies and we went to check it out. What we found chilled us to the bone. Blood from my livestock was smeared across the porch. A headless chicken lay there, and written in blood were the words, "I see you." We turned to the left, and there she was again. The woman in white. This time her mouth hung open unnaturally, and she was sobbing. She began walking toward us. We ran inside and locked every door. Then we waited, praying for daylight. Daylight finally broke, but it brought no comfort. The sun rose behind a thick veil of fog, casting a pale gray over the farm. My buddies left early, shaken but still skeptical. I stayed behind, trying to convince myself it was all a drunken hallucination. But the blood on the porch hadn't vanished. Neither had the message. That evening, I decided to burn the chicken remains and scrub the porch clean. As I dragged the hose across the yard, I noticed something strange. Every mirror in the house had cracked, not shattered, just a single jagged line down the center, like something had stared into them too long. I hadn't noticed it before. Maybe I hadn't looked close enough. That night, I locked every door, every window. I even nailed boards across the back entrance. But at 3:17 a.m., I woke up to the sound of static. My old radio, one I hadn't used in years, was on. The dial was spinning on its own, stopping briefly at stations that whispered in languages I didn't recognize. Then came the voice, software familiar. "You shouldn't have touched the coyote." I froze. The voice was my father's, but he'd been dead for 3 years. I grabbed my flashlight and crept downstairs. The static grew louder. The radio sparked and died. Then silence, until the knock returned. Knock, knock, knock. But this time it wasn't at the front door. It was coming from inside the house, from the basement. I opened the door slowly, flashlight trembling in my hand. The stairs creaked with every step. At the bottom, the air was ice, my breath fogged, and there she was, the woman in white, her gown now soaked in blood. Her mouth no longer hanging, it was stitched shut with barbed wire. Her eyes were black voids, leaking something thick and dark. She pointed to the corner of the basement, where the coyote lay, still deformed, still breathing. But now it had human eyes. I ran. I didn't look back. I drove until the gas ran out and slept in the car on the side of the road. I sold the farm the next week, moved to the city, crowded, trashy, but safe, or so I thought. Last night I came home to find a note slipped under my apartment door, written in blood. I see you. I never left. And in the hallway mirror, behind my reflection, she was smiling.